Following on from the last video, the movies missing from Blu-ray and 4K here in the UK, movies I'd like to see, I thought I'd do a follow-up to that one with more movies missing from Blu-ray and 4K here in the UK that I'd like to see. So I'm going to try and do this one a little bit shorter than the last one because that's 48 minutes. But people seem to have engaged with that video, which is really, really good. So part 2 of movies missing from Blu-ray and 4K in the UK that have maybe only had a DVD release or may not have even seen a DVD release. In the case of a few of these, actually, quite a few of these have not had releases on DVD here in the UK. The first one is a great film from 2004. It's a Japanese movie called Swing Girls. Swing Girls is a really, 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 really nice film. It's a really good film about a group of schoolgirls in Japan who have to take the packed lunches for the brass band to a baseball game, because the brass band is obviously supporting the baseball team. So they have to take the packed food, like the bento boxes and stuff, across some country rural areas to get to where the team are playing, and they kind of screw up and contaminate the food on the way there, which causes the brass band to become very, very ill with food poisoning. And because of what happened there, they are then tasked with taking the place of the school brass band. But because there's not enough of them, they struggle with brass band music, so they decide to change it and become a sort of big band instead of a full-on marching brass band. And it follows them through their training on one really, really hot summer through to them taking part in this huge nationwide school competition for brass bands and stuff. And it's like phenomenal. The music is so good. It's very, very funny. I mean, it starts off with them not really liking doing the brass band stuff and just being teenagers, but they find that they actually got to a point during the training where they realized that they actually did really like it and they did enjoy it. So they become this group of, I think it's like 15, 16 people. Not enough to be a full-on marching band for a team, but to become a smaller band. Yeah, it's a really, really nice film. It's a film that I think I've seen it about 10 times. And every time I watch it, I enjoy it each and every time. But the only reason I found out about this film was through my brother. My brother, on a whim, bought a Japanese or Korean DVD of it from Yes Asia must have been about 16 years ago now. And we watched it. Luckily it had English subtitles. We watched it, and then he bought a Japanese DVD which had slightly better subtitles and obviously a better picture quality. And then finally we got hold of a Japanese Blu-ray of Swing Girls, and we were able to watch it in high definition and better sound quality, much better picture quality. And it's a film we watch every single Christmas, because even though it's not a Christmas film, there is a part of the film which is set around Christmas. So it kind of becomes a tradition in my household between me and my brother, where we watch Swing Girls. Now, Swing Girls has never had a release outside of Asia from my research. I don't think it ever had a US release either. But Swing Girls is a film, if you can get hold of the Japanese Blu-ray, I 100% recommend getting Swing Girls. Like I said, it's a very, very nice film. There's nothing offensive in it. There's no gore or anything. It's funny. The music, the jazz music in it is incredible. The big band stuff is incredible. It's like a Rocky movie or like Karate Kid. It's all about the underdogs and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's great. I would love to see this get a release in the UK. In fact, a few years ago, I contacted Third Window Films to see if it was a film that they would most likely, or if they would consider maybe releasing here in the UK. And their reply was, oh, well, it's widely available everywhere else. I don't think it would really sell well here in the UK. And it wasn't widely available everywhere else. It was widely available in Japan, but not anywhere else. Japan and Korea with a dodgy DVD. But outside of those countries, Swing Girls isn't available, and I don't understand why. It's a brilliant film. It's got a high percentage on IMDb. I think it's up in the 7s. It's got a great cast in it. Like I said, the music in it is phenomenal. If you watch a lot of Japanese films and TV shows, you will recognize certain actors who are in it. If I can find it now. It is directed... Swing Girls. Why is it giving me Swing Kids? Swing Girls. Swing Girls, yeah, from 2004. It's directed by Shinobu Yaguchi, who was the director of another film as well. Another really good film that, again, is inoffensive and just a lot of fun to watch. Is from 2001 called Waterboys. There you go. Swing Girls has a 7.5 rating on IMDb, which for a film that hasn't really been seen by a lot of people, that's a very, very high percentage. And I don't think there's a lot of Japanese people using IMDb. It's got Ueno Juri, who has appeared in quite a lot of things since, I believe. She's got 53 credits to her film resume, but there's one person who plays the teacher, but I can't remember what his name is now. Yeah, I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, if you can get hold of Swing Girls, I highly recommend Swing Girls. It's a great movie, a lot of fun, great music. I will link the trailer underneath this for Swing Girls for you to check out, just to like bask in its greatness. Moving on from Swing Girls is another film that never had a release outside of America. We didn't even get this on DVD from what I have searched. But it's a film that I saw on VHS a lot of times as a kid. It used to be on TV a lot in the early 90s, but it's a film that just never ever gets sort of the love in the UK, and it's Wildcats from 1986, directed by Michael Ritchie. Michael Ritchie, if you are unaware, is quite a well-known director. Michael Ritchie is a director who is known for The Island, Bad News Bears, Fletch, The Golden Child. What else has he directed? The Fantastics, Cops and Robinsons, The Couch Trip, Wildcats, The Survivors, Student Bodies, The Island, Almost Perfect Affair, Semi-Tough, The Candidate, which is a great movie with Robert Redford, Prime Cut with Gene Hackman and Lee Marvin, a really, really good rural sort of like neo-noir movie. Just a lot of really well-known movies, and Wildcats is a film that like you don't tend to see much anymore. It's a very funny comedy about a rookie high school football coach who has a harder time than expected trying to teach a bunch of inner city football players in high school to get into shape, ready for like the coming season. But the interesting thing about Wildcats is that it not only does it star Goldie Hawn, it also stars Robin Lively, who would, in I think the same year she did Teen Witch as well, which was a really cheesy sort of semi-sequel to Teen Wolf. It kind of has the same sort of font. But the interesting thing about this is that it stars both Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes in a White Men Can't Jump film, because they hadn't really starred together. People don't realise that they hadn't starred together until White Men Can't Jump and also Money Train. But they had made this movie beforehand in 1986 called Wildcats. Very funny film. I remember watching it a lot as a kid. There was a lot of... Goldie Hawn was kind of the person growing up for me. So, I mean, there was... Private Benjamin was in the last video. But Goldie Hawn was like... What? She was in Wildcats. She was in Private Benjamin, Bird on a Wire. What else was she in? House Sitter. Overboard. Just great movies that I watched a lot when I was a kid. Protocol, maybe not watched Protocol as much when I was a kid. Death Becomes Her, which I spoke about in a video a couple of weeks ago when I picked it up. But yeah, Goldie Hawn was like the person at the time. But yeah, Wildcats, great movie. Underappreciated, needs to be seen a bit more. Same with this next one from 1987, which is a Sylvester Stallone movie called Over the Top. Over the Top is a over-the-top 80s action film that doesn't have a huge amount of action in it, but is about truckers who arm wrestle. His character has the greatest film name of all time. His character is called Lincoln Hawk. Now, there cannot be a single person in the entire world called Lincoln Hawk. That is like the coolest name. Like, people say John Matrix is a cool name. John Matrix from Commando. Dutch Schaefer is a cool name. Rocky Balboa, John Rambo. No, Lincoln Hawk is the coolest movie name ever created. Basically, he finds out that he's got a child who is at a military academy, and he goes to pick him up and see if he can bond with the kid. And there's like the kid's grandfather, his like former father-in-law, I guess you could say, played by Robert Loggia, trying to prevent Lincoln from basically being with his child. It then follows them as they're going cross country. So Lincoln Hawk and his son, as they travel cross country to get to where the kid's actual house is, and they stop off at different roadsides where Lincoln Hawk puts into practice his arm wrestling and uses his special over-the-top move. It's bonkers. But again, it's a film that has never had a physical release here in the UK outside of VHS. Like, I have a DVD of it that I got from the States. It's never had a Blu-ray release in the UK. It never had a DVD release in the UK from my research. And it damn well hasn't had a 4K release here. And it's another film I'd like to see so I can add it to my Sylvester Stallone collection. I have a collection of movies that come in the box set. I don't know if you've seen the Stallone box set. It's got, what is in it? Cobra, Assassins, Tango and Cash, and I was going to say Executive Decision, but that's not in it. It's I think it might be Lockup, maybe Lockup. I'm not 100% sure. I'll double check. It's up on the top somewhere. So yeah, Over the Top, cheesy as hell movie. It's an 80s movie. It's an 80s Stallone movie. Of course, it's going to be cheesy, and he's got the coolest name ever. Then we move on to I guess, post Dirty Dancing. What year did Dirty Dancing come out? Dirty Dancing was what, 1986 or 87? 1987. So it came out the same year as Dirty Dancing. Whether or not this film came out before or after, I am not 100% sure. I'll have to double check. But the film that I'm referring to is a post-apocalyptic martial arts action adventure starring Patrick Swayze called Steel Dawn. Steel Dawn is like I said, it's a post-apocalyptic action film set after a global war has decimated the the world, I guess. The world is now a desert wasteland. There's barely any water. And he plays a soldier called Nomad. He doesn't have an actual name. They just refer to him as Nomad, who basically, he's like the wandering warrior from the same sort of plot as the movie Shane. He goes from one area to another area, just existing and helping out and doing stuff like that. He meets up with an old military colonel, I guess. He was the one who taught him the ways of the war and combat, because they have a very special type of combat, which is a mixture of martial arts and swordplay. It doesn't really go into much detail about the war or whether or not or who they actually are, because his sort of designation as a soldier was as a peacekeeper. So whether or not he was a peacekeeper, well, no, not whether or not he was a peacekeeper. They don't really go into detail on the specifics of the war. He was a peacekeeper, and he has this very cool blade, like sword, which is like, it's really hard to describe. But just watch again. I'll link the trailers for all these films at the bottom. But yeah, this is a film that, like, it has had DVD releases in the UK, and it had a VHS release back in the 1980s. That's how I remember seeing it for the first time. I saw it for the first time on VHS. Loved it. Got a DVD when I was old enough. At the time, it was classed as an 18. Now I think it's a 15. And yeah, it's a film that I would love to have seen get the HD treatment here in the UK, or possibly a 4K film. 4K release. I know it got released by Vestron in the States under the Vestron collection label, but that never transferred here into the UK, even though we did get some of the other Vestron releases, like Return of the Living Dead 3 and The Wraith, and a couple of others, like what was it called? Little Monsters. I think we had that as well. But we didn't get Steel Dawn, and Steel Dawn's just a fun movie. It's got Patrick Swayze in it. It's got Patrick Swayze's wife Lisa Neem in it. It has, is it Brian Thompson? No, not Brian Thompson. Brian James in it, and the villain is played by Anthony Zerber, who always plays a great villain. Played a great villain in the Omega Man as well, but he plays the main sort of villain in this film. It's kind of almost, thinking about it now that I'm really thinking about it, it's the exact same plot as Roadhouse, but set in a post-apocalyptic future. It's the same plot. Like, he plays the mysterious Nomad in Steel Dawn. He also plays the kind of mysterious Dalton in Roadhouse, which I have actually right by here. And yeah, it's almost exactly the same plot. Both films end with a one-on-one fight, and they have a despicable villain, and he is there to help people out. It's the same fucking movie. But Steel Dawn is a lot of fun. I remember watching it a ton when I was a kid, and it's a film I would love to see back on physical media here in the UK in a high def format. Again, another film that is sadly overlooked here in the UK, and another film that's actually a Sylvester Stallone movie, is 1981's Nighthawks. It is a undercover cop thriller. Well, is it cop thriller stroke action thriller that stars Sylvester Stallone, Billy D. Williams, and Rutger Hauer. Rutger Hauer plays an international terrorist, and it is up to Stallone's detective Zeke De Silva, trying to get his name right now, and Billy D. Williams' character to track down this terrorist and to prevent him from terrorizing people. It opens with an explosion in London, and where Rutger Hauer's character is like blown up a department store. which has a very like early role for Catherine Mary Stewart, who would then go on and be in like The Last Starfighter and Night of the Comet. That's where we all know her from. But the film actually itself opens with Stallone in drag. He's undercover as a woman. It's a weird opening, but it's a really like great, like, fast-paced, thrilling, tense detective movie that like is never ever talked about when people talk about Sylvester Stallone's movies. Like, never talked. It's like it goes Rocky and Rambo, and then what else did he do? And then Tango and Cash and Cobra. No one ever talks about things like Laws of Dogtown. Not Laws of Dogtown. Is it Laws? No, Laws of Flatbush, sorry. And Death Race 2000. People don't ever talk about that. Even though that, like, technically, he's not the star of it, he's the co-star of it, and he wasn't huge at the time. But Nighthawks is a really good movie that deserves a bit more respect, and I think it's about time that the UK had a quality, high definition version of it on sell through on 4K or on Blu-ray. That would be a really good film to add to my Stallone collection. I've got a DVD which I was looking at the other day. I think it's just over there by the TV. But yeah, Nighthawks, great movie. The next three are movies that I think I might have talked about a lot in the past, but never really talked about in a sort of forum like this. The first one is 1985's Explorers, directed by Joe Dante and starring River Phoenix and Ethan Hawke. It's about a group of kids who are having these strange dreams. And it turns out that these dreams are sort of linked via something. I can't remember what it is. But it's sort of like a blueprint for building a spacecraft. So they build this spacecraft called the Thunder Road. And they use this program that River Phoenix's father has invented that creates a sort of matter bubble that sort of protects the ship. And they use that to basically fly into space. And when they get into space, they get caught in a tractor beam and pulled aboard this huge like intergalactic spaceship, and they meet these two aliens, a boy and a girl, well, a male and a female, I guess you could say. They were, who are essentially kids themselves, but they've learned everything about Earth via television. So picking up TV signals from Earth, they've learned English, but they speak in sound clips from these specific TV shows that they've picked up on. It's a great film. It sounds bonkers, but then it is an 80s movie, and a lot of films made in the 1980s. Excuse me. A lot of films made in the 1980s were weird. Buckaroo Banzai, Big Trouble in Little China, They are very odd movies compared to the kind of movies that we get these days. But Explorers is really good. Like I said, it's got Ethan Hawke. It was Ethan Hawke's first movie. River Phoenix was also quite young in this. I don't think he'd done much beforehand. But you've also got the likes of Robert Picardo's in it. Dick Miller is in it. It's a Joe Dante film, so of course Dick Miller's going to be in it. Who else is in there? James Cromwell is in there, plays the father of River Phoenix's character. Just a lot of fun. Great score by Jerry Goldsmith. Again, like I've said in previous videos, is one of the main soundtracks that I want to get hold of. And yeah, Explorers is great. It's never had a DVD release in the UK. At least I've never seen it on DVD here in the UK. I don't think it's had it's definitely not had a Blu-ray or a 4K here. But I have a Region 1 DVD of that. Again, most of the ones that I own are ones that I've owned on Region 1 DVD because that was the only way to get hold of these films at the time. I know that Shout Factory, I think it was under their Shout Select label, sub-label, released The Explorers for a very, very limited time on Blu-ray. There is definitely not a high 4K version of it. And again, it's another film that I grew up with, and it's a film that I would love to see get a high-def release here in the UK. Maybe someone like 101 Films who would put out things like Space Hunter, or maybe even someone like Eureka who put out Night of the Creeps and Enemy Mine. They might be able to do something like that. But the problem being, it's a Paramount release, which means that we are most likely not going to see it on Blu-ray here in the UK, because Paramount, for some reason, do not like to license out their movies. They like to release them themselves, but they only release films that they think will sell, which is fair enough. I know a lot of companies would only release films that they think would sell, but when you really think of the audience for physical media, the audience for physical media aren't 15 and 16-year-olds. They're 35 to 50, 60 plus year people. The people who have been collecting movies through the physical media era. So from VHS to Laserdisc to DVD to Blu-ray to 4K. We are the people who should be the target audience, not 15 and 16-year-olds who can't watch a video on TikTok without having another video on at the same time. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So next one, another 80s movie which has had a UK Blu-ray, but it had a budget, not UK Blu-ray, UK DVD, but it was released on a budget release via the company Prism Leisure years and years and years ago. This was back when DVD was first starting and you could buy those Blu-ray players, no, the DVD players that came with like 20 movies for like 110 quid. Prism Leisure released a lot of movies on very low budget DVDs, usually at $5.99 a pop. You could get a lot of crap, but you could also pick up some decent stuff. Like there's a couple of films that I've got which are actually pretty decent, or ones that I did pick up at the time. Like I picked up the movie Drive with Mark Dacascos, which is one of the best Western martial arts movies of the 1990s. I picked that up for $5.99. It was a 2-disc limited edition. And then I picked up, The Quiet Earth as well. I think they released that. But one that you can get, and I think I still have a copy of this on DVD, is the movie Space Camp from 1986. Space Camp has a great cast in it. Kate Capshaw, Leah Thompson, Leaf Phoenix, who is in fact Joaquin Phoenix when he was about 12, 13 years old, I think it was. It's got, is it Kelly Preston? I think it's Kelly Preston. And Tate Donovan's in it as well. I think Tom Skerritt is in it. It's a great cast. Music, fantastic music by John Williams as well. And it's just, it's a fun 80s kids adventure movie about a group of kids at space camp who accidentally get launched into space, and they have to get mission control to talk them into how to land and get back to Earth. Fun movie. Like it's an 80s film. These type of films never get made. They wouldn't get made now because there's just no audience for it from the target cinema audience. So like someone my age, at the age of 42, movies aren't targeted at me anymore. They're targeted at between 12 and 18 or 12 and 16 year olds who don't go to the cinema because they're too busy doing other things or like making TikToks or I'm not going to slag off teenagers, Gen Z or whatever the fuck they are. But so I'm not a target audience for movies these days. But I would definitely be a target audience for a Blu-ray or 4K of Space Camp. One of the interesting things I just wanted to say is that there are 2 films that I have actually just ordered that I am waiting for delivery from Spain, from Amazon Spain. It was the only place that I could find them. So I have ordered a Blu-ray of Space Camp from Spain, and I have ordered a Blu-ray of the movie Daryl from Spain as well. Daryl has had a UK Blu-ray, but I think it's out of print now, so I've decided I'll just go with the Spanish one. It cost me 15 quid. Well, it cost me 18 quid in total with shipping for the 2 Blues, and yeah, so they might be boots, they might not. But Space Camp, great fun, lot of fun. Really would love to see that get some extra love here in the UK. The Boy Who Could Fly. I have talked about The Boy Who Could Fly many times because it's one of my favourite soundtrack. It has one of my favourite soundtracks from Bruce Broughton. It is a film directed by Nick Castle, written and directed by Nick Castle, who also wrote and directed, well, didn't write, but also directed another one of my favourite 80s movies, a film that I have talked a lot about, which is The Last Starfighter. But The Boy Who Could Fly is just, again, like a lot of the films on this list, like especially like Swing Girls, it's a lovely film. It's a nice film. It's a comedy. It's a drama. It's got supernatural elements in it. And it's just, yeah, it's just a really nice film. It stars Jay Underwood as the Boy Who Could Fly. And I can't remember the name of the girl in it. Let me type in Lucy Deakins. Yes, Lucy Deakins, Jay Underwood, Bonnie Bedelia, and Fred Savage. But you've also got Fred Gwynne as well, who was the original Herman Munster in the Munsters. Also showed up as the Pet Sematary guy in the movie Pet Sematary. He plays the father or the uncle of Jay Underwood's character Eric, who sort of, it's not never specifically said, but he's clearly autistic and or like mute autistic. But he believes he can fly, and he sits out on his bedroom window, trying to like fly, take off, and stuff. It's just a lovely movie, and yeah, it's a film that I would love. There you go, an autistic boy who dreams of flying touches everyone he meets, including a new family who's moved in after their father dies. Lovely film, great score, beautifully acted. It's never offensive or anything, and it's just a great movie that I would love to see get a release here in the UK. I think it's released by Warner Brothers, there is a possibility we might get a Blu-ray through the Warner Archive, but I highly doubt it. It makes me sad. But yeah, great movie. Really enjoyed Boy You Could Fly. Music by Bruce Broughton is absolutely stunning. And yeah, I know there's not as many films in this part. This is a shorter video. Part 2. So we've got the movie Swing Girls, Wildcats, Over the Top, Steel Dawn, Nighthawks, Explorers, Space Camp, and The Boy Who Could Fly. There's just a few more examples of films that I would love to see get the HD treatment here in the UK. I do have a What the Fuck Did I Buy, or Pedro's Pickups coming soon. Picked up a few movies today, and I'll showcase them off in the next video. But as usual, yeah, keep commenting. This is really, really interesting to see what people are interested in seeing themselves get physical media releases that never really had that love here in the UK. So as usual, I'm Pete. This is Pedro's Movie Cavern. Please like if you enjoy my shit, then press the subscribe button. I'm not really one to push all the subscriptions and stuff, but just give the video a like if you enjoy it, or leave a comment, and I'll try and get back, well, I'll try and answer as many comments as I possibly can. So yeah, this is Pedro's Movie Cavern. I am Pedro. I'm going to give you a salute. I'm going to throw up the peace sign. I'm going to tell you that I am out. Cheers, everyone. Hope you have a good one. Thanks.